On the eve of the college entrance exam, I implanted 18 lethal viruses into my body. Because on the exam day, a blood red moon would descend and trigger global viral mutation. People carrying illnesses would awaken special abilities based on the viruses within them, granting the host overwhelmingly powerful abilities. Those with common colds awakened the power to control flames capable of consuming everything. People with eye infections could release beam-like energy capable of cutting through objects. In my previous life, I was a pharmaceutical researcher, healthy in body and mind, yet reduced to the very bottom of society. Now returned to the brink of the apocalypse. I immediately implanted multiple viruses into my body. As the final virus was introduced, the attending doctor froze in shock. Mr. Liu, you currently carry 18 different terminal cell conditions. I can only regretfully say that your remaining time is very limited. Yet only I knew that within days the world would undergo mutation. Humanity would face a civilization-ending disaster. I calmly observed the world, knowing this was the last moment to appreciate it. When the early hours of June 7th arrived, a strange red moon would cover the globe. At that moment, all life would change, and humans would be no exception. In an era where illness and cancer affect younger and broader populations, 80 to 90% of people would awaken some degree of power. On June 7th, I was awakened by a blinding light. Dressed and standing before the mirror, though thin to the point of distortion, it was still clear he once possessed strikingly handsome features. My condition worsened again. Pain from internal changes spread throughout my body, as if unseen forces were tearing inside, yet this brought me deep satisfaction. On the final day, I still had preparations to complete. To welcome the apocalypse in my most perfect state, I injected newly prepared compounds and viruses into my body, including unknown genes extracted from the polar regions and several fast-acting viruses. The reason for adding more viruses was simple, because even under the red moon, some viruses might not evolve or might evolve slowly. There was always a matter of probability. In the apocalypse, one more power meant one more way to survive. So I needed to gather as many as possible to pursue immortality. After the injections, I collapsed onto the bed, drained and pale, yet my face carried a sickly and unsettling smile. By nightfall, I quietly watched the distant city lights, my expression growing solemn. This was the final flickering light before the apocalypse arrived. Only 1 minute remained before midnight. An era of collapsing rules and order was about to begin. As the old wall clock let out a heavy sound, the silent night sky was instantly covered in a layer of blood-red light. Everyone was stunned by the sudden scene. Vehicles on the streets stopped abruptly and collided. People stepped out and stared upward, ignoring the damage around them.
什么情况？月亮变成红色，这也太诡异了，怎么回事？我的头突然好疼。
An eerie crimson glow enveloped the entire world. The same scene unfolded simultaneously across the globe. I dropped to my knees as my body emitted rapid cracking sounds. Cells began dividing wildly, becoming extremely restless. Damn, the reaction was far stronger than expected. Intense pain struck deep, causing my body to curl inward. At that moment, I clearly felt as if I were about to burst apart. I forced my will to stay conscious. If I failed to endure the mutation, the outcome would still be death. Come on then, I roared aloud. Years of buried humiliation and hatred transformed into powerful resolve. As thunder roared, blood-colored lightning tore through sky and earth, the apocalypse was formed. At last, the pain throughout my body slowly weakened. At this point, I had completely become a terrifying crimson figure. It was impossible to imagine the suffering I had endured. Those who awakened outside slowly stood up, staring around in fear and confusion. For them, the first taste of power after awakening felt subtle. To fully master strength, one needed both self-development and continuous evolution. My thoughts cleared as I turned toward the mirror. My once gaunt body had miraculously regained its appearance. Sharp-carved features, a sculpted physique, and a faint cold aura like an Azura. Despite inner joy, I showed no outward loss of composure. After surviving a hellish era, my mindset was long unshaken. I looked at my hands, feeling cells reborn with endless vitality. Another thunderclap illuminated the sky. Standing before the floor-to-ceiling window, I looked down upon the new era world. I shattered the glass and leapt from the high building. In the bedroom, all shelters were meaningless, only power was truth. With a massive impact, my body landed firmly atop a car. The force alone crushed it into twisted scrap. People nearby were startled and stared in unison. My car, my brand new car. A middle-aged man in a polo shirt collapsed at the sight of it. I ignored him and fixed my gaze on the intersection, sensing a restless presence. The next moment, screams erupted from the crowd jammed along the street.